Alrighty folks, so if you're watching this video, it's probably because you are trying to figure out how to hack the ROM for the ROM competition. Remember, I'm going to make a real cartridge out of the game, I hope. I haven't had a chance to mess around with that, but I'm pretty sure it's possible, so we'll get to that. There are a few things you need to do to get set up, and we'll start with that. So if you go to that email that I had sent, let's look at this one. So this is the email that I had sent. This is the most recent part of the thread. If we click at the very, very top, you'll see that there's a link. I'm not sure how well you can read the text in the video, but right here it says, for next class, please open up this file, and it's a hot link. Click that, and then you'll be brought to a Dropbox link. We need to download this folder. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click download. You could also pull it from the attachment. That's okay too. There we go. So it's downloading. So it's done. So what we're going to do is somewhere on our desktop, I'll put one here, make a new folder, call it hacking stuff. And then your parents will get mad at Mr. Weast for getting you to make a folder called hacking stuff. And we go show in folder. We're going to open up this archive. Now I'm using something called WinRAR. You might, in fact, be using the built-in Windows compression stuff. That's okay too. The point is, there's a folder in here called Game Design Club Comp. So I'm going to drag that into here so it uncompresses it. Remember, we can't work with compressed files. Okay, so now if we go in here, here is everything that we need. The ROM, the program that we're going to use for graphics editing, the program that we're going to use to generate the tables to understand the hex code, and then the emulator that we're going to use to check our work. So the first thing I think we should do is we should just use the emulator to open up the game and see where we're at. So double click FCEUX, and here is the emulator. What you're going to want to do, if you've got a gamepad, you can use a gamepad. But for now, you're going to need to put in some basic controls so that you can control the game while it's running to move things along. To do that, we click on Config, go down to Input, and this is where all of our information is configured for gamepad use. If we go Configure, how this works is we click on the button that we want to program for the emulator, and then press a key or a gamepad button to make an association. So if you had a gamepad plugged in before you opened up the emulator, so the emulator knows it's there, you could click up and then press the up button on your gamepad, and it would make the character move up or what have you. I don't have a gamepad, believe it or not. I don't have a gamepad hooked up at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put some shortcuts in on my keyboard. So if I click up, what I'm going to use for up, and you can do whatever you want, is I'm going to use W. So I press W, and then W again to confirm, and it goes away. We're just going to do that for all of these buttons. So left, I'm going to use A. Right, D. Remember, I'm pressing the button I want to use twice to confirm. Down, I'm going to use S. Okay, so for select, I'll use B. For start, I'll use N, just because they're logical for me on the keyboard. For A, I'll use the greater than sign, and for B, I'll use the / sign. Done. Okay, so now I'm able to control the emulated Nintendo with my keyboard. So to open up a game, we go File, Open ROM, and we're going to navigate to the folder that we use, hacking stuff. And the ROM is located in this top folder here. Now remember, there's two different versions here. This is what I'm using as my working version. This is the one that I'm working on at the moment. In here is the original file that hasn't been touched. So if you need to start over because you bugged it out or something like that, you can get this file, copy it over, and you'll always have a backup. Similarly, you could always re-download the package from the email. Open this up, and the game starts. I'm not monitoring right now, so I'm not sure if you guys are hearing the music or not. So as we can see, there it is. If I hit N for start, I can move along. I've got a save game already, apparently. Start again. Give myself a name. Oops. Would be this one, I guess. Oh, no. Mr. Dub. Done. And so now as I walk around, you see I'm walking around with those keys. And I don't know if I have any weapons right now. You can see those, that 345 and something no movie. Those are other shortcuts for FCEUX that are also using the keys that I chose. That's my bad. But either way, we see that the game works. Okay, so let's look at some hacking. The first and foremost thing that I want to show you guys is how to hack text. It's really easy to hack text in Nintendo games, and this goes for any game out there, not just this one. Some games are a little more difficult because of the way that the programmers chose to organize the memory of the game, but this one happens to be, it's like it was meant to be hacked. In fact, it was meant to be hacked. When the group that made the game made it, they wanted people to mess with it. So the way that we do that is we use the table generator first, and I'll show you why. Let's open up the game again, and recent, yep. Now if we go debug while the game's running, we go debug and we go PPU viewer. Remember, this shows us what's in memory for the game right now. You'll notice it changes as the game changes. If we go debug hex editor, what this is showing us is all the incredibly difficult to understand hex code that makes up the game. This is where it sits. Okay, look at all that jumbled nonsense. And you'll notice that we can look at 3 different areas of the file. We can look at the memory, so what's up in memory right now. We can look at the PPU memory, so the graphical memory that's loaded at the moment. And we can look at the actual ROM file. So this is the file that would be the cartridge, right? So this is the program as it was distributed. And if we take a look, there's tons of stuff there. Okay, and as I showed you before, if we go to the PPU memory, if you look carefully, oh, let's look at the first one, NES memory. Every once in a while you'll see these areas that change periodically, and that's just the program running in memory, right? Okay, so let's say that we wanted to edit some text. Well, as it stands right now, I don't see any text that can be edited. I mean, we could probably do a search. We'd probably find stuff. Well, here's adventure, barely alive, press start. So maybe this is some of the memory for the main screen. But it makes it really hard to look through this because it's all jumbled up. If we want to fix it, we need to create basically a table of contents for the hex data so that we can access it easily. The way we do that is use Tablator. So I've included that in the table generator folder. We open up Tablator, Tablator again. Now hopefully you guys will remember how I did this in class a couple times, but I'll do it again here for you. Basically all we do is we use this PPU viewer, and again to open this I went in the emulator while the game's running. I went tools or debug PPU viewer. What I'm doing is I'm basically saying where the letters and numbers in memory exist as coordinates of memory, if that makes sense. So if I put my mouse over capital A, you'll see that it says tile 41 right down here. It says tile 41 when I put my mouse over A. So that means tile 41. So that means that in the table of contents, row 4, column 1 is capital A. Okay. If I put my cursor over B, I get 4-2. So in the next one, row 4, column 2 is B, and so on. An easier way to do this is Tablator will actually automatically generate this information for us. So again, capital A is row 4, column 1, row 4, column 1. And if I put the cursor there and click automation, auto alphabet, because they're capital letters, bam, puts them all in. It's a good idea to check because we don't want to be editing with the wrong table of contents, right? So it's a good idea to check. It's a good idea to check to make sure it's correct. And the way I'll do that is I know that A is 4-1 and Z, according to this table, is row 5A, column A. So if I put my mouse over Z in the PPU viewer, I should see 5A, and I do, so we're good. Now we can do the exact same thing with the numbers. If I put my cursor over 0, it's tile 30, so that's row 3, column 0. So if I go row 3, column 0, put my cursor there, automation, auto numbers, I get 0 through 9. And just to double check, We go 9 is row 3, column 9. So when I put my cursor over the number 9 in the PPU viewer, I should get 39, tile 39. And I do, tile 39. So that's good. So now we've made a table of contents to look at this big jumbled piece of data here. So what we're going to do is we're going to save out our table file. So save. And put it somewhere you can find it easily, like right in the hacking stuff directory maybe, or we put it here. And we'll call it comp table. And make sure, so everyone knows what you're doing, you save it with the right file extension, .tbl. Save. All right. So now we can close Tabulator. And we'll do our first edit now. If we go into the hex editor, let's search view ROM file so that we're looking at the right part. And again, to bring up the hex editor with the emulator running, we'll step through it. First, we're going to open up the emulator. There we go. Now we're going to open the ROM file, open ROM, Pwn Adventure Z, and it loads. Okay, so now with the emulator open, we're going to go debug hex editor. And that brings up the hex editor. That's to edit the code of the game. Now we're going to go view ROM file, because we want to edit the original file, the file that loads into memory from the cartridge or from the emulator. Now we're going to load a table file. So we go file, load.tbl file. We're going to navigate to where we found that. So in my case, I put it in with these folders. Comp table.tbl. Perfect. And you'll notice that this all changed a little bit. And that's good, because now when we scroll, we're going to find nice big clumps of text like this, right? And it all makes sense too. It's all loads of text that makes sense when we read it. Like we can read it like we would a paragraph in a book or whatever. I can find some here. Gotta scroll down more apparently. Or did I mess up the table file? Oh, there was some. Yeah. You found the third key inside the sure, right? Like, oh, here's stuff. The flag is the real system to get the actual flag. The flag is interesting. I haven't played the whole game, so I don't know what this stuff is. There we go. All this stuff, right? So let's go to the top and one of the easiest ways to edit text is we're going to search for it first. So if we go file or edit, find, make sure that we select text, not hex. We want to search for actual text. And we search for, let's just search for start. And make sure we search in capitals because the hex editor uses capitals. Find next. There we go. So here's the text for the loading screen. So let's do our first edit. One thing that we have to be careful when we're editing text is that we're not adding data to the ROM file that the ROM file isn't expecting, if that makes sense. If you have a box for 10 items, you don't want to put 11 items in it because it confuses the box, confuses the user. So in this case, when we're editing, we can basically use, well, for example, we can use up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters to replace the adventure word. And we can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because spaces are characters, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 characters to replace the barely alive line, if that makes sense. So let's see what we can get. And I'm just typing over top. Now, one thing to note, if I put my cursor, if I click between these two characters, you'll note that it points to the code 20. That's the code for a space. So if I want to add a blank in, the way we do that... No, I don't like this. Let's go BLFR space. So I'm going to click over here and type 20. I got a space. And then I'm going to type GD... Oh. And then over here, Balfour... Hold on. BALFR. Click over... Oh, I messed something up here. Hold on. Let's type this again. Let's start here and go. Adventure. There we go. Okay. So let's type here and go BALFR. It's an abbreviation. And then here, we're going to type 20. And then here, we're going to click back over here now to edit this and type GD18. I added one extra character, but technically there's an empty space there. So it might be a little more crowded in the graphic, but I think it should work. So now to see how the edit looks, we're going to go File, Save ROM, and then we need to reload the game. So File, NES, Reset. I'll let it play through and see what happens. Nope, see, it didn't like it. I messed something up. Okay, so what we're going to do then, because I don't like how this turned out, we're going to go and we're going to use our backup file. Right click, copy, go back in here, paste. Replace the file. There we go. Now if I reset, it should look fine again. Let's confirm that first before we move on. Nope. Okay, so let's close FCUX to get it out of memory. Copy this. I'm going to delete these. Paste. There we go. So now, if I open up the game, emulator, there we go. File, open. This is a brand new file, so if it doesn't work, Mr. Weiss is going to be upset. There we go, we're good. Okay, let's try that again. I think I know what happened. So I'm going to go File. And we're going to go, debug, PPU viewer, just to have that up. Debug, hex editor. And again, we're going to switch to the ROM file, and then we're going to load our table. There. Okay, so let's go, and we go view, or edit, find, looking for text, start, find next. Okay, so here's our line again. So let's try that again. Let's go BALFR. And then we'll add a space in. I know this works because I've done it. And then we'll just go back over here and type GD. We're getting a little carried away maybe trying to put so much in. Save ROM. We go File, Save ROM, and then NES, Reset. Let's see how that looks. That should work. And the survey says Balfour GD. Perfect. I love it. Okay. So now let's edit this barely alive part. Okay. So what could we put in there? We could go, let's do some planning. So we've got the line that we're editing is barely alive, and there's actually two spaces here. So we could do something instead that is hack comp 18. Could do something like that. Let's try that. So we go HACK over here. 20 for a space. Back over here. COMP. Oh, it's perfect. Back over here. 20 to put in the space. 20 again for another space. Then click over here again and go 18. Yeah. See how that turned out. Save ROM. And yes. Reset. See how that looks. Here we go. Balfour Game Design Hack Comp 2018. START. Oh, I got another hack. We're going to go over here. We're going to type START HACKN. Start hacking. All right. See what that looks like. So you'll notice that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to edit the characters that are already in place without adding more data. Yeah, there we go. Balfour GD, Hack Comp 18, start hacking. Isn't that cool? Okay, so let's save that. Oops, save it over here. Now, just to be safe, what I'm going to recommend we do is we're going to save a version of this. We go to the game ROM. We're going to go folder 1.0 with a little bit of information. Title, screen, text, edited. And we're going to go copy, and we're going to paste it into this folder. Okay, and now we have a backup of our work to date. Okay, perfect. So let's do a little more text hacking. Oops. And then I'm going to start a second video that shows you how to do graphics. Okay, so the game is running right now. So if we go start, and we'll start this new game. Oops, start this new game. And my name will be QQQQQQ. Done. Okay, so what's this letter here does something, obviously. What does it do? The zombie apocalypse is upon us. We need help. Meet me in town. Okay, what does it say? Meet me in the next town. The zombie apocalypse is upon us. We need help. Meet me in town. Okay, so let's try and edit that. So if we go edit, find, meet me, doesn't come up with anything. Okay, let's try zombie. Yeah, right here. The zombie apocalypse is upon us. We need help. Meet me in the next town. That's exactly what we were looking for. So basically, we should be able to type anything we want between the T of the and the N of town. So let's go this. Oh, remember, we have to click over here and put 20 for spaces. We can't just use the space button. This is a space ROM hacking. Oh. This one should be a 20 tutorial 20 space. I hope 20 it 20 I hope it works. And we didn't put anything in the table for an exclamation mark, or actually periods for that matter. 20. Hope it works. Best. Oops. There we go. Best of 20. Back over here. That's kind of tedious. Luck. 20. 2. 20. Oh, it's perfect. Click over here. YOU. Perfect. Okay, let's see how that works. And then we'll carry on to graphics. Reset. Okay. So we'll hit start. Gotta make sure I use the right buttons here. Oh, this isn't the right one. Hold on. I picked the wrong save. Silly old Mr. Beast. Okay. Start. Any of these should be okay. Yeah, okay. So we'll go back. Look at this letter. This is a ROM hacking tutorial. I hope it works. Best of luck to you. You found the fourth. There was other text in there that we didn't read, apparently. So that just means that I messed up a bit somewhere. So we got to watch out for that. Okay. But anyways, you guys get the idea. And I'm going to post a link to a second video here right quickly. That'll get you looking at graphics. Okay. And honestly, guys, just use Google. If you're looking for more information around hacking text, there's tons of guides out there. People have been doing this for 25, 30 years. This is definitely enough to get you going, though. I'm moving through it quickly for the sake of showing you guys videos. So hope it was helpful, and there'll be another video shortly on editing text or editing graphics. So thank you.